afternoon. This is Emily Skilling. I'm a sales representative with CaptureCast Video. My apologies. And today I am going to give a demonstration of our multi-perspective hardware appliance. So I'm just going to go ahead and start showing my screen. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in and I'll answer them at the end, or do my best to anyway. And this session will be recorded. If you would like to share it with colleagues or review it again, please feel free to reach out to me at my information that I provide you at the end, and I'll be able to send that to you. So we'll just start this off from the current slide. Okay, so here's a picture of our current build of our hardware. As you can see, it does have a rack mount. It's got a beautiful interface. I'll go over the capabilities of the different inputs and all of the bells and whistles in our live demonstration that I'll do probably in the middle of our recording. I'll try to keep this session below 30 minutes because that's what I would appreciate if I were listening. So it shouldn't be too long from now. Our agenda today, as I mentioned, I'll be going over a product overview of the CaptureCast Pro, a product demonstration of the interface and workflow, as well as some stuff, exciting stuff that's coming down the road pretty quickly. And then lastly, if there's any questions that pop up, I'll look at those at the end. Okay, so it would be, I think, a good thing to start off by telling you who we are. So at Capture Video, we have been in business for a little over 4 years, and we started out as a live event recording and streaming company. And basically, we've grown as we've seen the needs of the market grow, as well as other markets being interested in multi-perspective recording. So we've got 3 core values as a company that drive business: open philosophy, automation, and customer enablement. The open philosophy you'll see in the way we make our hardware, our different publishing points, the different providers we work with, and kind of going along with that would be customer enablement. So we created our units, our hardware appliance, to be as user-friendly as possible, as well as giving you the ability to be in control of your own appliance. So once it's yours. Even as your AV needs change, your appliance can change. And you don't necessarily even have to reach out to us for that. So also automation is huge in the way we design our hardware. So essentially you could have one of our CaptureCast boxes sitting in a rack or a room somewhere and never have to worry if it's publishing as it should or when it's supposed to or where it's going. So I'll demonstrate that shortly as well. So again, here's a picture of the front of one of our units. You can see the measurements there just to give you a good idea. It is 3U rack mountable, and all of our units do come with that rack mount faceplate that you see. So we are an open hardware appliance that is non-proprietary, non-embedded, and fully open. Many of the other appliances out there will only work with one system or their own hosting company, but we work with an array of different ones. Some of which we work better with others just because there are more integration points to work with and because of just being interested in what we're doing. We do have standard hardware components that can be easily replaced simply by working with your vendor, your AV vendor, or in some cases just going to Amazon. We do have a Linux-based operating system that's ideal for mission-critical recording. And all of our boxes are customized and configured to your specific AV needs. So I can tell you our base box comes with 2 HDMI inputs and a Julius audio card, but we can support SDI, DVI, VGA, composite, component, all of which we can include converters for if needed. We do have RAID and SSD configurations available for situations in which this might be moved around, like on a mobile cart. We can provide that as well. And like I said, it is 3U rack mountable. So we have powerful HD recording and streaming. It's all in HD and it records up to 1080p. You can record and encode and stream up to 4 video sources simultaneously. We do have a live H.264 AAC recording that's happening. So there's no post-transcoding that you have to wait on. Once you click stop, it's ready to publish or store to wherever you need it to. And it does produce separate encoded MP4 files. You can do back-to-back recordings because of this, so you're not waiting on the video file to convert. You can, basically give it about a minute in between recording sessions and you won't have a problem. We have given you the ability to individually control X264 presets, bit rate, and frames per second. Those are upon the individual recordings as well, or individual video files, as well as the main mixed media file that you can get. So you can actually get up to 5 separate encoded files, with the 5th one being the MUX of the 4. We've given you the ability to control the software stack with our documented API that is on the unit itself. Currently, you can do an array of different functions as far as scheduling and whatnot. You can also start and stop a recording. So we've seen some pretty cool integrations with third-party platforms that have like a touchpad or a system that's already set up. We want to work with what you already have, not make you start from scratch. I mean, who has the funding for that, or the time, or the desire? You can do ad hoc recordings because of that, so you don't have to put the box on a schedule, but we've got an advanced scheduler that's pretty compelling for situations in which that, you'll have scheduled recordings like for months on end, so a semester's worth of recordings. That'll not be a problem to set up on here. And we do have multiple publishing points: Akamai, Kaltura, YouTube, Vimeo, and MediaCore. And you can actually publish to all of them if you chose to and if you had accounts. So you're not limited to one per session. You can go to all of them. We do have resumable uploading for, Premiere, or in case your network is bogged down. You can republish, and some really cool features are the integration points that we have with different platforms, one of which is Kaltura. So we have metadata mapping points for categories, tags, media owner ID that will all place within that platform as it should. You can create an FTP or SFTP drop folder. And you can also save this to local storage. So there is a terabyte of storage on the hardware unit itself. And, I mean, depending on the resolution and the amount of sources you're recording, you could go an entire semester or two and not run out of hard drive space. But there are tools that will alert you to, or features on our interface that will allow you to see how much storage is currently available. We do have a standard MP4 format for video and a standard JSON format for all metadata. And you can do a simultaneous live stream and recording at the same time to any of these RTMP services. So even if you have your own RTMP server, we can stream there as well. And you can mix multiple video sources together that will produce one rich RTMP live stream. So if you did want to record 4 sources for a live streaming session, we only do a single live stream, so it would just be a mux of those 4. However, on playback, you actually have the ability to toggle in between 4 video sources or the main mixed media file on playback only, though. And here's a back of the units. These are all the different Blackmagic capture cards that we use. We do use Blackmagic and Julius for our audio card. And they support all of the different AV inputs that I mentioned earlier. All right, so let's jump right into our live demo of the interface. And let's see here. Okay. So we do have an HTML5 interface that can be played back on any device, so you don't actually have to log into your unit. As you can see, I'm accessing it via browser. And this is just what your dashboard would look like. It'd give you a quick snapshot of the last recordings, as well as upcoming recordings. And here you can see system status that gives you a percentage of the amount of storage that has been used, as well as the name of your unit and the IP address. Okay, so here's where you would do an ad hoc capture. And as you'll see throughout the entire platform, we have the training mode enabled on this. So if you click on anywhere there's a question mark, it'll give you an overview of what that feature is for, which is super helpful, especially when you're just beginning out with your unit. But here's where you would do a capture. So we drive our captures by templates, which will determine the different video devices you record from, as well as the publishing, and if you want to enable other features that will enrich it, which I'll go over. So here we would just give it, a title. I would choose my template. I'm just going to choose this Kaltura multi-source, and you just click Start Capture, and it shows you the different video devices that it will be recording from. And as you can see, I'm getting notification that there is a recording in session. My apologies. You can get a quick live preview of the sources that are being recorded. This is great for confidence monitoring, just to ensure that what's being recorded is plugged in as it should, and that it's, you know, actively recording. And you would just click Stop, and you'll get a notification up here once it's published to storage successfully, and also Kaltura once that's happened. Okay, I'll go over to our Templates tab, and this is what I had mentioned that you would basically drive your recordings by. You can search a specific template, you can duplicate templates. So if you have, you know, this in one classroom and you have 5 different teachers that are going to be using the same different video inputs, you don't have to recreate the wheel and create a new template each time. You would just simply duplicate it by clicking on duplicate. And then you could just change the credentials. So if they have a different Kaltura account or different YouTube account, you could put that in there. But here, let's just open up an existing template. Here, you would just give it a, you know, a general name that would make you easier to tell which platform this is going to and how many sources. Input is where you would pick the specific video devices. So you can, again, do up to 4, or you can do as little as 1. It's completely up to you. And then you would pick your audio device. So our capture cards do have embedded audio available. Alternatively, you could plug in a mic to the Julius card. Output is where you would determine the resolution, frames per second, bitrate controls. Here you can see I can set individual target bit rates per source, and you can do up to 15,000 kilobytes per second per individual source. The media canvas is how you would determine the, you know, what your media canvas would look like. So you can resize these as you see fit. You can move them around. You can hide them. You can also upload an image like you see I have here. This is great for basically branding your video, and this would be on your template every time you use the template. You can, again, select. So if you had this as a layer, for example, you can, you know, affect the layering on that as well. If you wanted something in the foreground or background, you can choose a different background color, just some really nice aesthetic controls. And here's where you can control your different encoding settings. And as you choose a different encoding setting, it gives a description of what that setting would be for. And frames per second, as well as target bit rate. And this is actually controlling your muxed file here of the 4 sources. So this would be a separate encoded file from the other ones if you choose to have all of those available. Okay, in enrichment, we have given you the ability to enable OCR and scene change detection. And what the scene change detector would do is it's going to estimate the rate at which your PowerPoint presentation, for example, would be changing. And then it can take an image of that with OCR, and as long as you follow best practices for text, like a dark background with light writing, it'll take an image and read the text. It's pretty accurate. If you need to edit it at all, you can do that on the machine as well, on the unit. And then this is our publishing section. You had already seen a snapshot on my PowerPoint, but you know, you would just enter in your appropriate credentials here if that's where you want to publish to. And again, you can have it go to all of these if that's what you choose to do. Okay, manage that tab basically it's the library of all of the recordings that are stored on the hardware. Let me show you a couple of really cool features as far as customer enablement. So here's where we've created something called the visualizer. And if there were to be a failure on one of your captures, you can actually pinpoint a plugin, like say for some reason it failed to publish to Kaltura. You can pinpoint the plugin and see all of the relationships, let's see, that particular plugin is tied to. This is really great for troubleshooting. even, resellers and whatnot love it when, if you have a reseller or an AV integrator that supports you guys. You can also download these logs. Anytime there's a failure, it should automatically save that. In addition, you can also analyze the media on an individual basis or, the main media file. But this gives you some really great information about the capture as well. You can download all of these to your computer. You can download the logs as well. And here's where you would actually edit metadata. So actually, you know what? I don't think I had OCR on that one. Let me look. Edit metadata. Here's where you would edit the text that, let's see here. Okay, so here's a perfect example. So this was where we had OCR and scene change detection enabled. So pretty spot on. This is all, plain language, nothing, too niched, like a specific jargon for like a medical school. But, we see this used largely in med schools and laboratories where the language may not be as commonly used. And so if it did misinterpret what was read, or if there was like a graph or something with, some language within that and it took a wrong reading of that, you can easily edit that by simply clicking edit. Okay, so moving right along. Again, as far as numbers of videos that this can store, it's really based on the resolution and the encoding that you have on the video files, as well as how many video sources. But, we see on average about 300. So, this will take 10 videos per page. So 10 times 5, this actually has about 50 plus videos on it. Oh, and just quickly, if you needed to search for a specific video, you can simply search here, and you would just, you can search by speaker, or alternatively, you can search by title of video. Okay, so our advanced scheduler is where you would schedule captures. We do have the ability for you to import existing calendars. So if you have an existing calendar that's an iCal or ICS format, you can import those calendar dates into our calendar. You will need to create templates associated with each of those calendar dates, but you won't have to reinvent the wheel by scheduling those out as you would if you didn't import a calendar. The option's there if you'd like. Otherwise, you would click Schedule Capture, and you can do single recordings or multiple recordings. So again, we drive it by templates. So you would give this title, the class title, for example, Math 101. I'm going to specify my template, which is going to decide the video sources and the publishing provider I'm going to be publishing to, or the hosting provider, rather. You would, if it's a single capture, so if it's a specific date or a ceremony or production, for example, you can just, do a single date capture here. Alternatively, you can do multiple captures. So if it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, you could have the start date be the beginning of the semester, end of the semester is when it would end, the start time of the class, and how long the class is, so like 50 minutes or something. You can specify a presenter associated with this. You can add in assets to a specific recording session. And then you can also add in tags and enable any of these features. Okay, your Devices tab is where you can change the names of the different devices that are plugged in. So for our 1080p devices, you can do up to 30 frames per second. 1080i, you can do up to 60 frames per second. Here's where you would also change information on the audio devices that are plugged in, or the embedded audio that I mentioned. We tend to recommend people change the video devices to not be the name of the actual card itself, but something like document camera, teacher camera, or PC, digital whiteboard, etc. The settings section is where you will do a number of different things. I'm not going to go over every single one, but if you wanted to give access to the unit to a faculty member, you can do that by simply clicking Add User and give them a username and password, and then specify the role that they can have with the unit itself. So if you wanted them to have restricted access, you would just specify them as a presenter, and then they wouldn't be able to do any of the administrative tasks within the unit. Our support documents all give explanations of what the restrictions are within each of these roles. This is where you can enable purging. So you can enable auto purging if that's something of interest to you. Here's where you would also reboot your unit. And then we also allow you to get notifications, or chatter rather, of what's going on with your unit. So if you have a specific AV Twitter account, for example, or even your own one for work, you can be notified of any or all of these notifications. So if you're like me, no news is good news, and so you would just disable everything that is a good thing, and then choose to be notified only when there's a failure that occurs. Here's where you would also download or choose to purge your logs. Okay, and if you want to change your time format, you can also do that as well. The last thing I'll show you on the interface, or next to last thing I'll show you, is our command center. So as you can see, there's really not much going on with this right now, but basically you have the ability currently, as of today, to view the other units on your campus that are all tied to the same network. What you're going to see is the IP address or the name of the unit and whether it's on or off. But you also can log into that unit itself by simply clicking on the IP address. However, we have completely revamped this, and in our next build, which will be approximately in February, March of 2015, we've given you many scheduling capabilities all within one interface. So you'll be able to see every unit on your campus, as well as schedule captures, move dates around, push things back, etc. And I have an image of that on the PowerPoint slide that I'll show you in just a sec. Here you see a status bar. Currently, the unit is not recording anything. It's idle. But you can also link directly over to our support documents. So all of this is free. We have unlimited online ticketing support that will give you 1 to 3 day turnaround time. That is all complimentary with the purchase of the unit. And also access to our webinars, such as the one you hear today. I do some on tips and tricks. And we have Q&A sessions for that as well. And then also our support documentation and tutorials. And then you do have access to the API on each unit, so you don't have to download that as a separate thing either. Let me jump right back into our PowerPoint as we wrap up here. This is the command center that will be available on our next build, which is February, March. All of our units in 2015 are coming with free software maintenance. So even if you were to purchase this today, for example, you get a free year of software maintenance on it, and that gives you access to all updates that we do to our software. So we would just coordinate with you on, the best time to update your units. And as you can see on the left-hand side here, I have a status on all of the units I have on campus. They all have different names. I can, with these different blue and green and yellow squares, I guess you could call them, they're all time-based, and I can move those around if they're in the future. And you can easily add units as well. Well, that wraps up our product demonstration. We do offer free 30-day trials on our CaptureCast Pros. If you're needing it for a little bit longer, we can definitely work with you. I've seen them go up to 60 days, so I'd be happy to coordinate the best time for that, as well as talk to you about what it is you're looking for, so we can customize your unit and also, just discuss the best time for something like that. Let's see here if I have any questions. We are on Google+, and we are on Twitter, so I encourage you to follow us and connect with us on both of those things. We do have a LinkedIn as well, but we often post video tutorials and updates and whatnot to our Google+ account. So please, if you haven't already, follow us on both of those, Twitter and Google+, to stay up to date. Otherwise, I look forward to speaking with you and appreciate the time you took out to listen to me today. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.